Good evening. What a staggering introduction all of it was. Thank you. My God. Thank you. We're stunned. You know, I don't have a lot of time tonight, and I have 34 years, so just relax, everybody. I thought I would start with a joke. My sister told me. And she said, you know, this lady got up to give a speech, and she said, I was going to start with a joke that would just knock your hair off. It's so funny. She said, but as I look around the audience tonight, I notice a lot of you have already heard it. So let me just leap right in. I want to talk tonight. I got to take my glasses off so I can read my notes. I want to talk tonight about the incredible honor and privilege, not to mention thrilling adventure it has been to work at the Federation for 34 years. My daughter and Jessica and I are who we are today, largely because of the Federation. 40 years ago, when I learned that my daughter, Jessica, was severely disabled, I was advised to institutionalize her. I was hopelessly in love. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Yet, I was really afraid of how we were going to make our way in a world that would put her away and or view her as a tragedy. Other than having cerebral palsy, Jessica really was healthy for the first few years. We managed pretty well, keeping with a small, wonderful circle of friends who all accepted Jessica for who she was and who she wasn't, really. Thanks to Chapter 766, when Jessica turned 6, she could attend a local public school. It was just pretty new for her to be able to do that. And she was placed in a segregated room with 5 or 6 other kids with severe disabilities. As a single parent, I needed to find a job. Inside, I was ever fearful of what would happen to Jessica. I knew my love alone was not enough. I had to make a world for her. I am so lucky the Federation found me. Thank you, Phyllis Snierson. My first job there was as a receptionist. Everyone who started on staff at the Federation that many years ago started as a receptionist. Everyone was required to answer the phone, and we did. By the time I retired in late 2011, the technology had become so obtuse and complex, nobody had a clue, except for Wanda. Thank you, Wanda. Let me tell you, I walked into the Federation a fearful, clueless mom, passionately committed to my daughter. I found there an automatic sense of belonging. As my friend John Sullivan said to me recently, we were all in the same boat. There was no manual for us. We had to go with our own truth. For me, in my heart, that truth had to do with belonging. The Federation holds a vision for belonging for families, no matter what their situation. Our background of commonly shared difficulties, no matter what disability label our child had, shaped our relationships with each other and with the families that we served. It also gave rise to a shared belief in the profound significance of what we were doing, forcing society to grant justice to its children. Thank you. Simple justice, education, health, care, community, family. These issues guided us and were foundational to our work. Our struggles and the struggles of our children, the nitty-gritty details of our daily life became the foundation of our work because it was so hard, and it was hard. And these ideas became the foundations of the policy of our work and the things we worked for. We spoke about I missed a page. You probably wish I had not found it, but you won't be alone in that. We ask ourselves and each other, well, what would it be like if things were different? And we thought of possibilities and how it could be different. And out of those possibilities, we also thought of how we spoke and the words we chose to speak about those people we cared about had an impact. They were important. And so therefore we shifted from speaking of integration to inclusion. It's deepened the sense of belonging we were aiming for. We were speaking of homes instead of slots in facilities somewhere where our children would end up. We spoke about education, not just coverage or training or therapy, as important as those may be. Most important, we insisted on speaking of our children as children first, not the CP kid or the spinal cord injury or even a special needs kid. Thank you. I didn't have time for y'all to clap. Sorry. I'll try to go fast. Anyway, people and children first, hence our name. For us, policy emerged out of the possibilities we imagined. I want to just mention a few of those areas. We stressed inclusion, and by doing that, we emphasized not just being present, but being with, participating as a valued person. Today, I just have to say this, the very first sentence of the federal special education law reads, "Disability is a natural part of the human experience and in no way diminishes the rights of individuals to participate in or contribute to society." Thank you. We talked about transition like other children. Our children grow up. In 1990, federal law was amended to require that schools develop a transition plan for students, and that transition plan be driven by the students' own vision of what they wanted their life to be. Jessica was clear. She wanted to have her own home in a community she grew up in Brookline. She wanted to go to school in Brookline, to work in Brookline, to live her life in Brookline. She wanted to join City Year after graduation. Pat Blake and other friends at the Federation fiercely fought with Jessica for that improbable vision, and it all came true. She was the first person with severe disabilities to join City Year. This opened the door for her to go have the money to go to Mass College of Art and to go to the museum school. And She then became a member of the Kajiaso Art Studio, and she's still connected with them. Her participation opened the doors for others too, not just for Jessica, who came after her. None of this would have been possible without the transformational leadership of the Federation. I have to speak of our vision for education. We had a vision for quality education. Thanks to education reform, and the whole movement for education reform for general education for kids with disabilities was also transformed. The general education curriculum now became a requirement for students with disabilities. The general curriculum, it was like heaven on earth for us. It came 9 years too late for Jessica, but still, kids like Jessica before this would have decades of education, learning to button a shirt or zip a sweater or other functional life skill. They never got history, social studies, reading or writing. Kids with disabilities like Jessica now have access to the curriculum. The books that the Federation on my project wrote, All Kids Count, every single student. These books spelled out in detail how parents across the country could benefit from general education reform for their kids with special needs. And all of this became part of special education law as well. In another area, healthcare reform, similar kinds of transformations were happening from the 70s on. Thanks to the Federation's work with the Federal Bureau of Maternal and Child Health, our mantra, it's a long one, was family-centered, community-based, culturally competent, coordinated care. This language helped make families and communities powerful and beneficial collaborators in their children's health care. These 8 words also became law of the land in Title V maternal and child health programs, thanks to the Federation. And thank you. Thanks to the Federation and work like Julie Beckett from Iowa, who's here with us today. As we worked to ensure quality education and health care for our kids, we noticed that other families, immigrant families, families from educationally and economically often disadvantaged families were left out. Carolyn Romano and I helped create the Federation's first statewide parent information and resource center funded under general education law. Thank you. This law was designed specifically to serve those families, whether or not their children were disabled. For 12 years, we stole all the good stuff on parent empowerment from the Federation and applied it and tailored it to meet the needs of these families. With your indulgence, I just want to say a word about how this all happened. It begins with a proverbial kitchen table. From a small group of committed parents, the Federation became a volunteer group of parents working for educational rights. From there, thanks to Harvey Liebergott, who's here, and other great, Jack Tringo, other great people, the Federation became the first federally funded parent-to-parent project like that in the nation. Martha, of course, used that little project as a launching pad for creating parent empowerment across the nation. With 4 other parent leaders, she worked to have this happen. In 1984, this network of parent centers also became part of the law of the land. Today, the federal special education budget funds over 100 of these centers across the country, and Martha Ziegler actually sat in Senator Weiker's office, a U.S. senator, and wrote the language for this law. Wrapping up, I want to urge you to please hold strong to what's been won. Don't give up. Don't divert your gaze. We got to keep at it. We also have a long ways to go in these areas. In addition, I just want to add a little something. Please work to try to build stronger connections between our kids and the folks in the adult disability community. One of the most important things in Jessica's life now is being part of the Boston Center for Independent Living and with ADAPT, which is a national, pretty much in-your-face activist organization of and for people with disabilities. Oh yeah, they get thrown in jail. They chain themselves to buses. I can't go on. These organizations are spearheading the campaign to defend the rights of people with disabilities to live freely in their own communities. It's still fragile. They are also key to gaining accessible transportation and for personal care assistants, who are the lifeline for folks like Jessica. Several of Jessica's PCAs are here tonight, and they are all heroes every single day. Mark Bumpers, Carlos Miller, Diana McWilliams. Thank you. So this is really the end. I am forever honored and grateful to have been a part of this work. I thank each and every one of you who are part of this journey just by being here, and for your continued support of the Federation. I especially thank my mentor, Pat Blake, Martha Ziegler, and who was the founding leader, and Martha's successor, Rich Robinson, who has held the vision and continued to expand the mission. Closer to home, I want to thank my brother Jim. My brother Sim, I lost my voice. My brother Jim, my sister-in-law Chris, my sister Cheryl in Maryland, who helped keep our spirits up and our little ship afloat through some very difficult battles. You honor me with your presence. Thank you. I love you. Thanks always to my mom and dad, Henry and Rita Vohs, our mom and dad, who worked so hard to give us every advantage. And to Jessica, you are my treasure. I love you. Thank you. Thank you all.